I'm Adam Sachs, and today we're here with Dr. Luis Lieberman, the Vice President of Costa Rica. Thank you so much for being here today with us.
And thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you here in Canada. First of all, are you enjoying your trip here in Canada?
I always enjoy my trips to Canada, especially to Ontario. I like Toronto a lot, and this is the first time I come this time of the year to find sun, and you don't even need a coat. So this is strange. I was ready for -20, but it's very beautiful.
You got very lucky, that's for sure. That's for sure. And you're here for just one day?
1.5 days.
1.5 days. And what's your primary focus on this trip?
Well, we're trying to promote investment and visits to Costa Rica. We're trying to tell people that Costa Rica is open for business, and that we have a special situation as a country, that we've promoted education for so long, that we're a different country in the Central American and Caribbean region. We're so close to the major markets of Canada, the US, Mexico, that we have become a very interesting platform for businesses to establish themselves there, both manufacturing, agricultural, and services, to export those services and those products all over the world. So we've been very lucky and very successful, but we're interested in getting more Canadian businesses interested in our country.
And Canadians are very interested in doing the same. I can speak for myself. I travel to Costa Rica at least once a month, and as myself, Canadians are eagerly looking to be educated on Costa Rica, and I think that's going to be a big determining factor on the growth of Canadians to Costa Rica. Are you able to describe the current relations between Costa Rica and Canada and the improvements that are being made towards CAFTA?
Okay, the relations with Canada are different in different areas. First, with the government on a political area, Canada is contributing to train our police force. We've just made a bilateral agreement to have the Royal Mounted Police help in our police school. Costa Rica is faced with the same challenges many other countries, that we're trying to stop the drug trade, the violence, and we need the help. We're also working with the Canadian government in other areas that are of mutual interest. At a second level, trade between the two countries has been increasing at a rate of about 12% per year since the free trade agreement was signed, and last year it increased by over 20%.
Wow.
So, and we're interested in continued expansion of exports of goods and services to Canada, as well as receiving Canadian products and services. And the third level has to do with the tourism and visits from one place to another. The new bilateral air agreement, so there will be unlimited access to both Costa Rica and Canada for flights back and forth, was approved by our legislature yesterday. Wow. And we're very pleased, because this should increase the number of Canadian visitors, and also the number of Costa Ricans visiting Canada. So at those three levels, I think we're doing very well. And this is a country that is, solid democracy, with good business ethics, and we're very pleased to do business with Canadians.
Thank you for that. The Central American Free Trade Agreement has been in place for a few years now, and much progress has been made. We're sort of going over what we had just talked about. Has CAFTA changed the landscape of the Costa Rican economy, and will it affect the future economic progress of Costa Rica?
Oh, it will. It has, and it will. 25 years ago, Costa Rica used to export 3-4 products to the rest of the world. Today, there are over 4,000 products. We've decided and made a commitment to free trade, to open trade, to fair trade, and that changes the rules of the game. We're putting the rules so business know what to expect, and under those rules and regulations, they can prosper and they can do, increase their business, and this is what this is all about. Without having opening our economy to international trade flows, a country of 4.5 million people, the internal market is too small to worry to be able to develop many of the products. So our market is the world, and in countries like Canada that consume a lot of goods and services are a prime area for us to do business with. This is what this is all about.
Fantastic, and it is. It's true. In terms of CAFTA, have there been any finalizations? And you mentioned yesterday there was a change that had been made. Is there still a process continuing?
Yeah, the second round of negotiations finished about a week ago, and we're looking forward to finishing the negotiations no later than September. Okay. So it will be to send it for ratification both in our Congress and I guess your Congress. There should be no problems.
Fantastic, okay. We have thousands of Canadians dying to travel to Costa Rica in the western coast of Canada. And obviously a question asked earlier in the audience was relating to flight travel, and I know this is a part of CAFTA. Can we expect direct flights or flights from the western coast of Canada to Costa Rica in the near future?
Yeah, as soon as this free travel agreement between Canada and Costa Rica is ratified by our Congress, there will be no obstacles for any airline from Canada to travel there or our airlines to come here. We look forward to that, and I know that there are intense negotiations right now with one of the airlines to start flying directly, I think, from Vancouver. Right.
I believe it's WestJet.
I think it is, to fly directly to Costa Rica and to increase the frequencies from, I think it's Air Canada, from Toronto and Montreal to San Jose.
Fantastic. Medical tourism has grown significantly in Costa Rica in the past decade. What has facilitated this growth, and what factors do you see continuing to fuel this growth?
Okay, first, we have a very good medical profession there. Most of the doctors are well trained, many trained abroad, and we have some very good medical facilities. What fueled it is, in our side, to be able to offer first world care, and basically it started with Americans because it's so expensive to get care in the U.S., both medical and dental care. Right. And it started as a, like a drop, and all of a sudden, it has grown year by year. And I think it will continue to grow as our facilities grow, as Costa Rica gets to be better known for medical treatment. And now we're moving also into what's called wellness treatments. Yes. That are a bit
assisted living and wellness.
So we look forward to that, because that's a type of tourism that really comes to the country because we have the talent there to be able to take care of very sophisticated techniques for patients that require that. We're doing very well in other areas of medicine, that like plastic surgery, dental work, and general surgery. A lot of people are coming there for
a lot are, and it's continuing to grow. And again, Canadians, I find the issue is Canadians just aren't educated on the subject. With education will come growth. Thank you very much. What makes Costa Rica so attractive to Canadians in specific?
Let me put it into the language that young people talk about now. Costa Rican is a place where you can do multitasking when you go there as a tourist. In some of the Caribbean destinations, is you go to the beach and you go to the beach. That's all there is. In Costa Rica, people go to the beach, but they also have the national parks, and they have the rivers, and they have the volcanoes, And some places where you need to wear a heavy sweater because it's up in the mountains, and then within an hour they're down on the coast. And the biodiversity that we have, and the fact that is well taken care of, attracts a lot of people because it makes a vacation. Let's say if you have a week or 10 days, it makes a person, when he comes back home, that he's seen things that he would not otherwise.
Much more adventurous outside of the all-inclusive walls.
Just sitting in around a swimming pool all day. There's merit to that too, but having the possibility of going to different places and seeing things that you would not see at home is what makes Costa Rica a very different destination than some of our competitors.
Thank you. What can you tell Canadians looking at Costa Rica as an option to retire, to help encourage them to live, to choose Costa Rica as a place to retire and bring their family and so forth?
Well, it's a country that it's safe. The rule of law is very important to us. So if you buy a property, you buy a property. It's not going to be taken away from you. There are very attractive areas of the country where you can choose to live by the coast or up in the central plateau where San Jose is, or up in the mountains, in small towns and big towns. You can choose whatever you want. And for people who are retired, medical facilities are important. And we do have, as we spoke before, first-class medical services, and that's very important.
It is.
And if you compare it to North America, it's a much cheaper place to, a dollar goes much farther in Costa Rica than it does in some of the other areas where Canadians tend to retire.
There's no question there. There's no question there. And the standards, in my opinion, are much higher. I actually was in Costa Rica 2 weeks ago and had a medical issue, and I can't say enough about the medical care that I had personally. Going back to medical care, we have a number of Canadian doctors that would like to work with Costa Rican doctors to work together to help improve on the medical system in general. Do you see relations growing between Canada and Costa Rica on a medical side?
There should be, because we also have a state-run medical system like you do here,
right?
And there's much to learn from each other. All Costa Ricans have the right to go to the hospital and to get care. We also have to contribute every month, I guess, like you do in Canada. But it is a system that has worked very well for us. We have almost the same, our life expectancy is just 1 year less than in Canada. We'll catch up with Canada someday, but the facilities are good, and we can learn from each other because the Canadian medical profession is one of the best in the world.
Just second to, and Costa Rica second to that. Today you spoke at length about the world-class education system in Costa Rica, the fact that Costa Rica has no army and has put their money into social security, into education, and into healthcare. How has the education system led Costa Rica to the most attractive country in Latin America for foreign direct investment?
Because we're able to provide a very well-educated and trained labor force. That is, when you look at some other countries, basically what you have is heavy manufacturing where international companies come, or extraction industries. And since we have no extractive industries, mining, for example, basically what companies come for is for the talent that people have acquired through many years of schooling and training. This is what this is all about. We have more university students per 100,000 than any of the other countries in Central America or the Caribbean. Our universities are very good. What we're trying to do now is to encourage them to educate more engineers and scientists, because that's what the world is asking for. It's the same challenges that we're talking today with with the ministers of Ontario that you're having here is training enough engineers and scientists to do the work that the 21st century requires. But this is what has attracted business to Costa Rica. And the fact that we are so close, you know, it's a 5-hour flight from Toronto, is a 2-hour flight from Miami.
Yes.
And their transport services are so, for exports of goods are daily to North America. We're in the same hour, we're basically, you're not 12 hours ahead or 12 hours behind. You have to get up at 3 in the morning
Right.
to talk to your factory somewhere in the east. So that has attracted a lot of business to Costa Rica.
I can see that from the tech side and from different industries as well, from my understanding.
We have putting a lot of resources into having all our high school students bilingual by 2017.
Wow.
In this world, you need to speak at least one more language. English is preferred, but then you know it's interesting. We're having call centers that answer in Portuguese, in Italian, in French. And for that, you need an educated labor force. And it's interesting. There are quite a few kids studying now Mandarin.
Wow.
So I guess one of these days the call centers for China will be in San
We'll
Jose too.
Yeah, I believe it. And I mean, I just witnessed the new stadium, which is gorgeous as well. So we are very familiar with Fortune 500 businesses such as HP, Intel, Procter & Gamble, operating in Costa Rica. Can you comment on the opportunities and growth of small and medium-sized businesses?
Actually, we used examples of the big Fortune 500s because it's easy for everybody to identify with them. But actually, most of the investment is done by small and medium-scale companies. Companies that have sales of, I don't know, $25 million, $10 million, and all of a sudden they have facilities in Costa Rica, in the plastics industry, in electronics, and in design. So we are, although you know, we cater to the big ones, but we also make a big effort to bring smaller size companies and help them grow, because we provide the environment for them to be able to get the people, ship their goods easily, order their services, and be able to grow their business from a platform that we have created with free trade agreements with over 50 countries.
You know, North America has a standardized regulatory system for real estate, and part of the issue with North Americans' fear of purchasing into Costa Rica, although there is fee simple ownership and the securities, comparable to the rest of Latin America, Costa Rica being number one, is there a plan in place for the future to have a regulated real estate system like an MLS or a listing service where real estate is regulated?
Well, one company tried to do it, which was I think Century 21.
Okay.
And they got into the business, but then the bubble burst and I don't know what happened. We honestly have not looked into this as a major issue, but if it is an issue for international investors, I would be pleased to meet with you and work through to see if we can put something in place. It's just a matter of you know, we have a way of doing business, but if that's not, people don't feel secure enough with that way of doing business, we can look and try to modify that.
I strongly believe that that would separate you tremendously from the rest of Latin America. And personally, I help implement multiple listing service MLS here in Canada, and would love to help in Costa Rica as well. Sure. Are there any other topics that you would like covered during your trip here to Canada?
Well,
any questions you'd like me to ask you?
I think we've covered just about
We've covered a lot.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time very much. Well, I want to thank you, Mr. Vice President, for being here. We're very grateful to have you here in Canada, and we look forward to continued relations with Costa Rica and Canada. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.